To live agape is to walk with blistered feet on sacred ground. It is the art of loving with abandon when our instincts beg us to preserve. It is choosing discomfort over convenience, reverence over reputation, and mercy over momentary ease. In a world obsessed with self-care, agape asks for soul care, the radical, often painful giving of the self for the eternal good of another. Agape does not flinch before discomfort. It meets it at the gates, as Christ did in Gethsemane, saying, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22, verse 42. This is not masochism or martyrdom seeking. It is a higher calculus of love. Comfort, if it ever impedes compassion, must be sacrificed. Agape love disrupts. It moves us from curated lives into cruciform living. It asks us to host the unlovable, forgive the repeat offender, give when it empties us, speak truth when it costs us approval, wait patiently when our flesh demands immediacy. The early church knew this. Saints who rarely appear in popular devotion lived this discomfort in silence and shadows. Saint Serafina, Fina of San Gimignano, a young girl afflicted with a degenerative disease, was bedridden on a wooden plank covered in sores. Yet her heart burned with divine love. She offered her suffering for the good of others, never once complaining. This is agape, hidden, raw, sanctifying. Not a spotlight, but a furnace. Saint Josephine Bakhita, once a slave, later a Canossian sister, said of her captors, "If I were to meet those who kidnapped me, I would kneel and kiss their hands, for if that had not happened, I would not be a Christian." This is agape, forgiving the chain bearer, not because they deserve it, but because love frees both the wounded and the wielder. Blessed Franz Jägerstätter, an Austrian farmer and father of four, refused to pledge loyalty to Hitler. He was executed for it. His widowed, he was quiet, simple, and cheerful, even as he walked to death. Agape sometimes walks silently into sacrifice, unseen by all but heaven. Agape wounds, but it does not destroy. In fact, it resurrects. He must increase, I must decrease. Agape thrives in humility. Comfort is often about control. Agape releases it. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. But agape goes further still. It lays down life for enemies. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2, not just in thought, but in action. Sometimes it means literal shoulders under another's cross. Agape is action without applause. Modern man is haunted by comfort. We curate air-conditioned holiness and filtered compassion. Yet holiness has always flourished in the soil of discomfort. We must learn to be interrupted without resentment, tolerate noise when silence is not ours to have, love those who bring anxiety instead of peace, serve when we're not at our best, stay when we'd rather ghost. This is not burnout, it is self-offering, rightly ordered and renewed in grace. Saint Zélie Martin, mother of Saint Thérèse, worked long hours with intense pain from breast cancer. She never ceased her motherly duties. She didn't wait for ideal conditions to love. Saint André Basset, a simple porter, healed thousands through intercession, but he spent most of his life sweeping floors. Comfort was never a precondition for his vocation. You will feel tired, but tiredness does not mean you are off course. Sometimes it means you are loving well. Agape is not efficient. It is not productive in a capitalistic sense. It is fruitful in a heavenly one. You may not see the harvest in this life, but your discomfort offered in love breaks chains unseen. When you show up for a friend in silence and feel useless, you are loving. When you rock a screaming child in the middle of the night, you are loving. When you tell the truth in love and are met with anger, you are loving. When you quietly choose not to retaliate, you are loving. Your body may ache, your mind may scream for solitude, your heart may wonder if it's worth it. But it is. God sees every sacrifice you make for love, and He does not waste love. Start small, love someone who interrupts your rhythm today. Fast from comfort, choose the longer line, let someone speak first. Offer discomfort, say, "Lord, I offer this for those who have no peace." Pray for enemies. Real agape begins where resentment dies. Let God comfort you. When others don't notice your sacrifice, He does. He who kneels before God can stand before anyone. Unknown early monastic. If you're comfortable, you are not growing, St. Philip Neri paraphrased. It is not hardship that breaks us, but the lack of love in it. St. Raphael Arnaiz. One act of charity in dryness is worth more than 1,000 in sweetness. St. Faustina, lesser known from her diary. From the Catechism of the Catholic Church, charity is the soul of the holiness to which all are called, CCC 826. It is not a matter of preaching what is pleasing, but what is saving, Saint Basil the Great. True charity consists in bearing all our neighbor's defects, not being surprised at their weakness, but edified at their smallest virtues, Saint Therese. You do not have to be famous to love greatly. You do not have to have a platform to pour yourself out. You do not need perfect words or timing. You only need to stay in the room when others walk out. Agape does not shout. It stays. It stays through. Medical caregiving that exhausts, friendships that feel one-sided, marriages where one carries more than the other, church communities full of broken people, jobs that drain but provide for others. God sanctifies these places. These discomforts become altars. You asked for a muse. Let it be this: Christ crucified, silent, surrendered, scarred, not for show but for salvation. Let the image of him, arms open, ribcage exposed, eyes toward heaven, be the art you imitate. That is agape, not just a feeling but a form of living that becomes a form of dying, that becomes a form of resurrection. And when no one claps, when no one sees, when your comfort is gone and all you have left is intention, offer it. That is when you most resemble love himself.